Nobody knows what to make of this record. There's tap dancing, there's arguing, there's this sound, there's that sound, there's this lyric, there's that lyric. It's a double album, but not really. Everyone has a different opinion and a different interpretation. It's confusing, and that's the point. It's all exactly what you'd expect from a man who's been cooped up for 5 years after making 2 dearly beloved records, one of which details the state of society in one of the most vivid portraits we've ever seen. Of course, he has no idea what to say next or how to say it, so he drops a double album with every sound palette and theme imaginable on it. This isn't the kind of record that everyone takes away one big beautiful point from, or even a beautiful set of points. This is a record where each listener takes away what they see as most meaningful, because in the end, Kendrick is all of us. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is a portrait of a human being, one who's hurt, lost, and confused, and at the same time healing, knowing, and growing. It is everything and nothing all at once. The second you go into this record with a scholarly mindset like I love to do and try to pick apart the tiny pieces of it is when you start to lose sight of the bigger picture. To be fair, this is fun to do and still encouraged because there's obviously a lot to learn. But if you want to know what this release means for Kendrick, you really don't have to look much further than the closer. But before we get there, let's zoom out for a minute. A lot of imagery around this record is, well, very Christ-like to say the least. And it's really meant to reinforce the idea that Kendrick, perhaps very much without asking, is perceived as a savior of some sort. To music, to hip-hop, the hood, however you want to view it, Kendrick has this savior expectation on his shoulders. Especially after T-Pap, you might look at Kendrick as a man who's not only great at raising important questions, but someone who might be smart enough to have some answers as well. But the problem is these issues that Kendrick is trying to tackle are way too big and complex for any one man or person to have an answer that satisfies everyone. How is a savior supposed to contextualize the world and all its flaws? Not even he knew, and the effort in trying to do so nearly ruined him. On The Heart Part 5, Kendrick talks about the dichotomy between feeling like he's done so much for his community, and yet now that he's made it, he feels like his community doesn't want him anymore, thus re-entering the same harmful cycles that make it what it is. And if you have a savior expectation on your shoulders and even your best efforts don't pan out in the way that you thought they would, it's a pretty easy recipe to drive you nuts and even into a deep depression. And so in the way of all these problems being too big, complex, and heartbreaking for any one person to solve, Kendrick ends the record with an apology. Sorry I didn't save the world, my friend. I was too busy building mine again. I choose me. I'm sorry. And that gets repeated 10 times. He's sorry he didn't show up when he felt the world said they needed him most and instead chose himself. It's kind of like a look, man. In the last 5 years, I've had to come to terms with everything I've been trying to do and everything I've done. And at the end of it all, I didn't have an answer. I'm sorry. The best I can do is let you listen to me figuring me out. Take it from Kendrick when he says, "'Cause you can't help the world until you help yourself" in The Heart Part 5. I think you're gonna see a lot of critics try and rate this album right now. And I think you're going to see a lot of people try and write about it immediately. And what I'm saying is we just got a very confusing, intimate double album from one of the most powerful voices in hip-hop history. And maybe we should listen to what that in and of itself says before we go down the rabbit hole of dissection and connection and secret meanings and tie-ins. There's a reason that when you ask people about this record, their response is something along the lines of, "I'm pretty sure it's good, but I think I just need some more time." And just know that Kendrick isn't entirely sure what it is either. He's just giving you him. I want to close by letting you know that you're going to see a lot more of this from artists who haven't released since pre-COVID. I've already seen a few records that I've liked that have done this before Kendrick, and as a result, I think you're going to get some really, really interesting art within the next year or two. Projects you wouldn't expect from artists you thought you knew really well. A few years in your own head does a lot. As always, let me know what you think below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.